Hello, internets, and welcome to another Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle. You can call me 12-pack, and the battle I have for you today is a rematch against Tolo, the guy I had in my last upload on YouTube, who beat me very narrowly, I might add, in a 1-0. That easily could have been mine, and I'm still kind of bitter about that. So, I rematched this fucker, and we both agreed to use different teams, and this is the result. So, no real history beyond that for this battle. So with that, let's hop right into team preview. I am using the same two hazard setters I had in the previous battle. Other than that, my team is completely different. So let's get started. Starting off here, I have my specially defensive Dusclops. Now this thing is kind of broken with Evilite. It has a retarded amount of special defense, almost reaching 600. I'm not even sure special defense is his highest defensive stat. I think that if I had made this thing defensive, he would have probably broken 600 special defense with Evilite, which is just ridiculous. That's Shuckle levels, that's insane. So, this set is basically just designed to endure for as long as possible and troll my opponent to some degree. Dusclops doesn't have a ton of HP, but he has ridiculous defenses and access to Will-O-Wisp, and he's just great all around. He definitely helps me this game. So next up we got my Leavanny from the previous game. This is my new Sticky Web setter, trying to rid myself of Shuckle. And it also can learn Heal Bell, which is excellent, as well as Knockoff, because everything can learn Knockoff. And what's the last thing I have on him? Synthesis. So next up we got my Walrein here. This is a set I like to think I made myself. Somebody else has probably figured it out. But it is a Curse Walrein with Avalanche, Rest, and Sleep Talk. The idea here is to get up a couple curses and then go to sleep, recover your HP, start going for Sleep Talk, and since you will be slower at that point than your opponent, most likely, unless it's like Shuckle or something, your Avalanche will hit for double base power since you move second, hitting at 120 BP, and with your buffed attack as well, it's going to hit very hard. And I have some decent resistance to special hits as well due to me having Thick Fat, as well as max special defense and max HP, which is quite helpful for surviving those fire and ice type attacks. Even though I resist them with Thick Fat, it'll do virtually nothing, allowing me to switch in and set up when my opponent switches out. Alright, next up we got my Dodrio. Now, I've wanted to use Dodrio for a while, but he really has a very somewhat barren move pool, so there's only really one way to use him effectively, and that is Choice Band. Now, with Choice Band, Dodrio is actually much more powerful than Talonflame. He has about 30 more base attack, but he doesn't have that Gale Wings priority. However, I do have Quick Attack, which is also Stab, and with Choice Band, that can hit pretty darn hard, surprisingly. So I got Brave Bird and Quick Attack, which are basically Dodrio's staples, but I wanted to have a couple other moves on him that were a little bit more rare and kind of unique, and I put Pursuit on him, which I thought would be useful, and Mirror Move as well, actually, which is an egg move that I got from Firo. Now, Mirror Move is kind of a gimmicky move, and I had one opportunity to use it this game, which would have been pretty cool, but I do not. So I'll have to bring Dodrio for another game for some mirror move antics. So next up we got my Torkoal, same one I used last game, Yawn, Lava Plume, Stealth Rocks, and Rapid Spin. I used max defense, max HP, and then next up we got my Dragolgi. Now I actually wanted to use a defensive set with this thing, but it just doesn't have enough HP or access to recovery to be a good defensive tank, in my opinion. So this is just the standard choice specs one with adaptability. I have max HP and max special attack with modest nature, not giving myself any speed due to me having Sticky Web on my team to patch that up. So next, my opponent's team here, it is pretty much all OU fare with one exception towards the end, which is pretty damn sick. But okay, let's see. We've got a Dragonite. Dragonite is always a extremely dangerous Pokemon, but since I have Walrein, I was feeling fairly confident I could handle it. Next up, we got Suicune. Ugh, God, I hate this thing. If it's the Calm Mind Suicune, which it probably is, then God help us all, that thing will be a bitch to kill. Now, next up we got his Gallade. Now, I actually really like Gallade personally, but I wasn't too worried about it this game due to me having Dusclops, which can burn it and make it pretty much useless. Next up we got Jolteon. I fucking hate Jolteon. It's so annoying every time I face it, due to it just zipping around with Volt Switch and outspeeding everything and just generally being a huge pain in the ass. And it also has decent special attack, which somewhat compounds the annoyance. So next up we got Kecleon. Oh my god, this dude is running a Kecleon. That's fucking awesome. I've actually wanted to use Kecleon for quite some time because other than Greninja, he's actually the only Pokemon that has access to the Protean ability, which, let's face it, it's one of the best abilities in the game. So Kecleon here, this isn't actually an offensive one. It is a specially defensive one, which you'll see in game, and you'll see the might of Kecleon here. This thing can seriously take some hits here and there. So next up we got Alakazam. Alakazam is always dangerous, let's be real here. And his only potential Mega on this team, since we're playing X and Y and it can't have Mega Gallade. So without further ado, let's hop right into this game here right now. Let's restart that song actually.
Tolo is issuing a challenge.
So I'm going to lead with Dusclops here. And he's going to lead with Alakazam. I was predicting him to lead with something physical since that's what most of his team is. But since Alakazam can have both Dazzling Gleam and Shadow Ball or even Dark Ball, so I'm going to get the hell out of there immediately, predicting the Shadow Ball. And go into Dodrio here. And sure enough, he Mega Evolves here. It's Mega Alakazam. That is not excellent in the slightest. And he's going to trace my early bird, which is, yeah, whatever. Anyway, he goes for Shadow Ball, does not affect me. He's going to withdraw. I had gone for Quick Attack on this turn, hoping that he'd be dumb enough to stay in and try an Aura Sphere or something, but he actually was not. And I could have Pursuit Trapped him there, but I wasn't thinking he'd actually switch out yet, so I go for Quick Attack, do like nothing to Suicune, so it's a defensive Suicune. Yeah, sure enough, he also has Rocky Helmet, so this has got to be a Calm Mind Suicune, right? Like, anyway, I'm going to go into Walrein here to hopefully set up against this thing, but he actually double switches out with Suicune back into Alakazam, and I'm like, fuck me, this is bad. So he traces my Thick Fat, which is actually extremely intelligent play on his part, because now my ice type attacks are only going to do half damage to him, and since I only have one attack, that pretty much, well, you'll see the result here. That should have almost OKO'd him. Well, 2/3 health at least, anyway. Or 3/4 health, I should say, but it did not very much. And he's going to withdraw, not doing a ton to me with Psychic, and bring in Jolteon, which I am not going to want to go up against, because time and again, Walrein has proved to me he does not like to take any super effective lightning attacks. I know it's weird that he wouldn't any more than he'd want to take Grass, but seriously, he gets wrecked by them for some reason. Anyway, I'm going to bring in Dragolgi here. He goes for the Thunderbolt, sure enough. Dragolgi's going to sponge that, no problem. And now this gives me a free turn to get off a Draco Meteor on whatever he wants to bring in. And that's going to be his Kecleon. I was like, kind of like, LOL, what's this little thing going to do? Go for the Draco Meteor, prepare to get like completely destroyed. And watch this. This little bastard is tougher than he looks. Surviving, oh my goodness, a neutral Draco Meteor with adaptability and choice specs. Now that is a feat not many can boast. But he must have max special defense and max HP is my guess. Anyway, gonna withdraw here. Predicting him to go to recover, or for recover, and outspeed me. And since I lost 2 stages of special attack, I'm not going to be able to KO him, even at his lower amount of HP when he does recover. And that is one of the reasons Kecleon is an effective tank, due to his access to that move. So anyway, Dusclops is going to come in here. I'm going to get Toxic, which doesn't matter at all since I have Leavanny with the Heal Bell, and Dusclops is also carrying Rest, so he basically cannot be touched by any sort of status elements. And I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp here, burning Kecleon, which was probably unnecessary, but in the case he switched out, I would have liked to have got the burn off on something else on my opponent's team. So I'm going to start taking a little round of toxic damage, no big deal, I only lost 9 HP. And he's going to start taking a bit of burn damage. Now we both could have stayed in here and stalled each other till the cows came home, but I'm going to withdraw, being ambitious, and bring in my Leavanny here to hopefully set up the sticky webs while he goes for an attack. And he goes for the Shadow Sneak, not going to touch me hardly at all here. I actually wanted to feel out my Dusclops' defenses, see if I was defensive or specially defensive. But I'm going to eat that up with Leavanny, no big deal. And now he's going to be forced to switch, or else he could Toxic me if he really wants to. But no, he's going to withdraw, probably remembering I have Heal Bell. so thinking that if he Toxic me, I would just heal myself. But I'm going to go for the knockoff, actually, predicting that switch. Landed on the Jolteon, get rid of his choice specs, and I was like, hell yes, that is a very critical point here, because that thing's going to be significantly less effective without his 50% extra special attack. So this turn he goes for the Volt Switch, being annoying as old Jolteons are and just constantly pivoting into whatever you switch in. And that's going to be his Gallade here as it comes in. And I'm predicting the Psycho Cut here. It's pretty obvious since most of them carry that. And I'm going to withdraw with Dragolgy here. Bring out the Torkoal, who can eat up a few hits from this thing, hopefully, and punish with Rocky Helmet. And here's something I didn't know. Psycho Cut does not actually make contact, so it's not affected by Rocky Helmet. I guess it's kind of a fucking, like, blade of psychic power or whatever, so it sort of makes sense. But goes for the close combat. Torkoal eats it up, no problem. Does a little recoil with the Rocky Helmet, which is nice. And this turn I get up my rocks. So now, he's at -1 at stage of defense and special defense, which is a-okay with me. Switching to Dusclops here, he's not going to be able to touch me thanks to my immunity to his fighting type attacks. So he goes for the Rock Slide. Dusclops does not care. He is fine. And he's going to predict me to go for the burn this turn, but actually, I predicted the switch here. And he brings back in Kecleon to block the burn, which is exactly what I would have done. That's a very safe play, considering he has nothing that can heal the burn off of his guys. But I went for Rest to get rid of my own Toxic. And since I still have Leavanny, I can wake my ass up without sitting in and stalling for like 3 turns to wake up. So that's part of the reason I brought Dusclops here, along with my Heal Bell Leavanny. So anyway, he's going to take a bit more burn damage, withdraw, realizing he cannot touch me, and send back out Jolteon. And I was like, okay, Shadow Ball's probably incoming here. So I'm going to withdraw since I can't really defend myself when I'm fucking asleep, and bring back out my Leavanny, who's going to actually take a Volt Switch, because that's all this guy does with this goddamn Jolteon is just spam Volt Switch all day long. Which is fine, really, because I can get pokes that resisted in the field, and he takes Stealth Rock damage every time he switches out, so it's not that big of a deal to me, buddy. Anyway, Alakazam's going to come in. He traces my Overcoat, which is kind of interesting, but that's not really going to have any implications later, and I get down the Sticky Webs on that switch. So now, I gotta get out of there because I'm not going to take a hit from Alakazam, let's be real here. So, Torkoal's got to come in and get sacked off for the greater good of the team here, and I did sort of save him for this purpose as he takes the Psychic and goes down with the ship. Would have been interesting to see how much damage that did if I was at full HP, but I have a feeling it probably would have been most of my health. So anyway, gonna bring in Dodrio, and this time he switches out, I go for Pursuit. Get Pursuit trapped, son. Dodrio slays Alakazam as he tries to switch out. Excellent, excellent. I was very happy with that. And now Jolteon comes in, and right here I was actually considering staying in, thinking I might actually be faster than this thing after the Sticky Web drop, and then I remembered that Jolteon has like base 130 speed, so I was like, probably not. So I swapped out into Dragolgy here, but he actually double switches. This guy is one wily bastard with his double switches, I must say. Brings out Suicune, but he mispredicted the ways of Dragolgy, because now something on his team is going to have to take a Draco Meteor, and really he doesn't have anything that wants to do that due to him having no Steel types or Fairy. But he goes for the Ice Beam hoping he can finish me, but no, son. Dragolgy has excellent special defense, so I take that. And since he has no Calm Mind boosts, he's not going to be able to kill me or survive this Draco Meteor, which just completely obliterates Suicune. So, go to hell, Suicune, no one likes you. Bye-bye. So, Dragolgy now, unfortunately, is kind of useless due to me having, like, no HP and very low speed. And since everything on his team is pretty much faster than me at this point, I'm going to have to leave him in to get sacked off by Dragonite, who dispatches me with the Dragon Claw. Right here, I thought he might have wanted to do the DD and predict me to switch out, but he was too smart for that, knowing that he did not want to take a Draco Meteor, even though I was at -2 special attack. So now I bring in Utilitarian, hoping I can outspeed and not get hit by an extreme speed, get off the Heal Bell, wake my Dusclops up and my Walrein, and he goes for the Fire Punch here and drops the Vanny in one shot, which is a sacrifice I was willing to make because it did pretty much everything I wanted it to this game, so it's fine and dandy. My guys are back awake now. Now I can send in Dusclops to get a burn off on something on his team. But since he still has Kecleon, which actually is still burned, I'm not going to be able to touch it, unfortunately. Not yet. I have to get rid of this Kecleon before I can cripple his other physical attackers. Now, right here I could have predicted this switch and gone for Nightshade, but since he's actually normal type by default, Kecleon, Nightshade would not actually affect him, so we're kind of at a bit of a stalemate here, as neither of us can really hurt the other beyond our respective status elements. But I can actually withdraw here, go into my Walrein, and set up as he takes this turn to recover. And my DS battery just turned red, so hopefully this does not die before the game completes. Please, Jesus, be with me. So anyway, yeah, he gets his health back. Son, even if you're going to toxic me, I'll just rest it off. Like, get with the program here. But anyway, I'm going to go for the Curse, get up to +1 attack and defense, -1 speed, and basically get prepared to wreck whatever he wants to send in after he switches out with Kecleon, which he's sure to do unless he wants to just leave it in here as a sacrifice. But if he does, then I'll just boost up to max with Curse, so he needs to make a decision here as I take 1 round of poison damage here and not even really feel that. So he's still taking burn damage, but he's not feeling it either thanks to him having Recover, and he's going to withdraw, being smart enough not to let Walrein set up all the curses he wants in the world. Now right here, I thought he actually might want to stay in and try stalling me with Toxic, so like a greedy little bastard, you're going to see in a second here, I went for a second Curse. Now, right here I might have been able to take a hit from Jolteon and finish him off with Avalanche, but if I did, something else on his team was going to be able to come in and finish me off before I could go for rest, since I have not burned his other physical attackers yet. I wasn't feeling confident that Walrein could take an attack from whatever he switched in after I killed Jolteon. So I'm going to go back out into Dusclops here and hopefully take this Thunderbolt with like no damage. Let's see how much this does here. LOL, that did 31 damage. That's pretty pathetic. So he goes for Shadow Ball, trying to get the super effective hit. Wow, that only did, what, 34 or 44 damage? Not even that much more than Thunderbolt, even though it was super effective. And I finish him off with the Nightshade, trading about half of my health in exchange. Which, let's be real here, for Dusclops, even half of his health is, like, ridiculous. So he brings in Gallade here. Now, bro, are you going to try to finish me off here? Or are you going to swap back out into Kecleon like a little bitch? And for some reason he goes for Poison Jab. Okay, I guess that's all he had to really hit me. But he actually gets the Poison Touch here. And that's a weird thing with this guy. It seems every time this dude uses a Poison type attack, even in our last battle, he'd get the Poison Touch. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on there. But anyway, I lose a little damage from the Poison. That was completely okay. And he's going to go for Rock Slide this turn, because for some reason he has that. And Dusclops takes it. Only 22 HP on the critical hit due to me burning him. And now I can just go for the rest, get back my status, and all the way back up to full HP. Yeah, it's kind of a douchey tactic, but that's why you always got to carry a poke with knockoff, people. Because if you run into a Dusclops, you are going to get shut the fuck down. So Dragonite's going to come in. And, well, since I'm asleep, I can either stay in here and just hope my ass wakes up before he KOs me, or I can swap out, but having great confidence in Dusclops, I'm going to stay in here and take some Dragon Claws, and that Dragon Claw did 36 damage, which was pretty much pathetic. And he's getting a little bit more health back with leftovers here, but it's not that big of a deal because once I burn him, he will be essentially useless. So here comes another Dragon Claw. I finally wake up, actually only after 2 turns, and land the Will-O-Wisp here, only losing about half of my health, which allows me to either go for a Nightshade or go for another rest if I want to be really douchey. But no, I'm actually going to, I believe, oh no, he is going to withdraw with Dragonite. Okay, I was not actually going to say that that was going to happen, but okay, Kecleon comes in. I don't know why. I guess he was predicting the Nightshade maybe, or maybe for me to rest. there's not really a whole lot he can do at this point anyway, since I'm kind of shutting his ass down. But Walrun's going to come in now. He is pretty much virtually uncontested anymore now that that Jolteon is dead and everything on my opponent's team is burned. So I can basically set up with impunity here and potentially like sweep through the rest of his team after finally spreading status around throughout all of his guys. Now, if he had had somebody with Heal Bell or Aromatherapy, he could have got around this, but no. Anyway, Kecleon's going to withdraw, him not being dumb enough to stay in as I set up multiple curses, and Gallade is going to come in here in the last-ditch attempt to somehow conquer this fat ass that is Walrun, just sitting here blocking everything. And I had gone for Curse that turn, obviously, as he switched out, get myself up to +1 defense. Gallade is at 50% attack, so there's no way he's going to be able to one-shot me. So, really his only hope here, he could go for Drain Punch and get back a bit more health, but that's not going to do enough damage to the point where I will die, obviously. So he takes a little damage from the burn and goes for the Rock Slide, hoping he can get a flinch. And I was actually kind of surprised here that he didn't, since this kid is like the king of hacks. But anyway, I go for the Avalanche. Goodbye, Gallade. As I predicted, that thing wasn't too much of a problem to this team, due to me being able to burn him quite easily. So, I've got enough health here that I'm feeling fairly confident I can take an attack from Dragonite and finish its ass off too, as it comes in this turn. And let's see here, what's he going to go for? Apparently this dude only has Dragon Claw and Fire Punch on his Dragonite. Like, I have no idea what his other two moves are. And he gets a crit there. Go figure, this guy is like the king of crits and other random bullshit. But I go for the Avalanche and completely dispatch Dragonite. Even if he was at full health, that probably will one-shot him, due to Ice being the ultimate tool of destroying Dragonite. Anyway, taking a little bit of poison damage here. Now I'm only at 20 HP. Walrun's proving the justice here with his frickin' avalanches. And Kecleon comes in. Right here, I was kind of predicting the Shadow Sneak, which I might actually have been able to take. But I was like, hell no, Walrun, you ain't dying this game, you did too good. So Dodrio's going to come in to finish it off. Block the Shadow Sneak. Trollolo. Now right here, I could have gone for a Mirror Move and finished him off in style. But I actually only thought of doing that after I had already clicked Brave Bird, which you'll see I go for in a second here. So yeah, there we go, Brave Bird. Well, at least the animation for this is epic, but it would have been kind of hilarious to get the super effective hit against him with Shadow Sneak since he changed to Ghost type. So with that, that is the 3-0 victory in my favor. So, great game, Tolo. I am quite happy with that result, although I imagine you're probably not. And goes to show you, man, if the hacks are on your side, you can really be put under. But even though he had all the hacks during our first battle, I still only lost by one guy. So in an even match, he didn't stand much of a chance. You just, man, even with a hyper-offensive team like he sort of has, you gotta have either a hazard setter or something that can heal status. And I know you got 2 tanks on your team, my man, but you don't have anything that can heal status ailments. And you run into a team like mine with Dusclops, which is just like untouchable unless you have knockoff. You can't handle it, my son. So anyway, it was a really good game. Probably battle this dude again in the future. He is definitely a highly skilled player, as evidenced by his predictions, switching, and just generally knowing what my Pokemon are likely to do. But in the end, I prevailed due to my ability to just spread status throughout his entire team and his inability to counter that. So with that, that's going to be game, people. So I really hope you enjoyed. And with that, again, I will see you next time. Bye for now.